When the car hit the water, I didn't scream. I inhaled. That was my first mistake. Cold lake water exploded through the broken window before I could close my mouth. It tasted like metal and mud and panic. The impact hadn't killed me. The sinking might. The car tilted nose first. My seatbelt locked tight against my ribs. The headlights cut through green darkness for one final second before flickering out. Silence swallowed everything. Except the sound of water filling the cabin. I forced myself to think. Don't fight it. Wait for pressure to equalize. That's what they say, right? I had read it somewhere. Watched a video once. Survival tips in case your car goes into water. I had never expected to use them. The water rose to my chest. My hands fumbled for the seatbelt. It wouldn't release. Come on, I whispered. My lungs burned already. Panic makes you waste oxygen. I tried again. Click. The belt snapped free. I shoved my door. Nothing. The outside pressure was too strong. The water climbed to my chin. I had seconds before it reached my nose. Wait. Wait until it fills completely. Then the pressure equalizes. Then you push. My brain screamed at me to breathe. But there was no air left. Water closed over my face. Cold. Absolute. I held my breath and shoved the door again. It didn't move. My hand searched blindly for something sharp. My keys. My keys were still in the ignition. I yanked them free and felt for the small emergency window tool I had attached months ago. Just in case. Just in case. I pressed it against the side window and pushed. Nothing. I hit it harder. A crack. Then another. The glass exploded inward and the lake rushed in with violent force. The car filled instantly. I kicked toward the opening. But my foot caught on something. My bag. The strap wrapped around my ankle. I pulled hard. It tightened. My chest convulsed. Air. I needed air. Black spots crowded my vision. I reached down, fingers numb, and ripped at the strap with shaking hands. It wouldn't tear. My lungs screamed. Reflex took over. My body tried to inhale. I swallowed water. Burning agony tore through my throat. No. Not yet. I forced my mouth closed again. My fingers finally found the buckle. It slipped. My vision dimmed further. Move, I told myself. One more try. The buckle snapped open. I kicked free and launched myself through the broken window. Up. Up. Where was up? Everything was black and spinning. I followed the trail of bubbles. They always rise. My chest exploded with pain. I couldn't hold it. Not another second. I broke the surface and inhaled violently. Air never tasted so violent. I coughed. Choked. The lake stretched endlessly around me. The road above was empty. No cars. No witnesses. My headlights glowed faintly beneath the surface for a moment. Then disappeared. I floated there, gasping. Alive. But barely. I swam toward shore. Each stroke felt heavier. My limbs were weak from oxygen deprivation. My clothes dragged me down. Halfway to land, my body began shaking uncontrollably. Cold shock. Hypothermia creeping in. Keep moving, I whispered. My teeth chattered so hard I bit my tongue. I reached the muddy bank and pulled myself onto solid ground. Collapsed. Staring at the sky. Stars above. Silent. Unconcerned. I rolled onto my side and coughed water until my chest hurt more than the crash. I had survived. But the adrenaline faded quickly. And with it came something worse. The realization. I wasn't alone in the car. The passenger seat. Empty when I surfaced. Because it had never been empty. My younger sister had been asleep beside me when we hit the guardrail. I had unbuckled myself first. I had fought free first. The lake behind me was black and still. I staggered to my feet. "No," I whispered. I dove back in. The cold hit harder this time. The car was gone from sight. I swam down blindly. Felt nothing. Saw nothing. My lungs burned again. I had seconds. I broke the surface again, choking. "Help!" I screamed into the darkness. No answer. I dove again. And again. Each time shorter. Each time weaker. Until my body refused. I collapsed at the edge of the water. Shivering violently. The stars blurred above me. Somewhere in the distance, a car finally passed. Headlights. Too late. The lake was calm again. As if nothing had happened. I survived. She didn't. And sometimes survival doesn't feel like winning. Sometimes it feels like the beginning of something much heavier. Because you don't just fight to breathe. You fight to live with it afterward. They told me I was lucky. That word again. Lucky the car didn't pin me. Lucky I knew about the window tool. Lucky I reached the surface in time. Lucky the passing driver saw me collapsed on the bank and called emergency services. Lucky. No one used that word when they spoke about her. They used softer words. Tragic. Unfortunate. Unavoidable. I replayed it every night. The moment the car hit the guardrail. The split second when I chose instinct. Seatbelt first. Door first. Air first. The police asked questions gently. Did she wake up before impact? I don't think so. Did you try to reach her? Yes. That part was true. I did try. After I surfaced. After I inhaled. After I chose oxygen. The doctors said my brain had gone into survival mode. That oxygen deprivation narrows thinking. That humans prioritize air above everything. Above logic. Above morality. Above love. They said I shouldn't blame myself. But blame doesn't ask for permission. It just moves in. The lake was drained 2 weeks later to retrieve the car. They said it would bring closure. It didn't. They showed me the vehicle. Bent. Crushed at the front. The passenger side window intact. Her seatbelt still fastened. She had never woken up. The coroner told me something that split me open. She likely didn't feel anything. I nodded. That was supposed to comfort me. But it only made one question louder. Why did I? The nightmares started immediately. Water filling my lungs. Her hand brushing mine underwater. Not accusing. Just there. In some dreams, she unbuckled herself first. In some, she pulled me back down. In some, she reached the surface and looked at me like I was the one missing. I stopped sleeping. Stopped driving. Stopped answering messages. People say time helps. It doesn't. Time just gives your mind more space to replay the worst second of your life in high definition. The therapist said something once that I hated. You didn't choose to survive, she said gently. Your body did. That sounds like an excuse, I replied. It's biology. Biology doesn't ease guilt. Biology doesn't explain why I keep hearing her voice in quiet rooms. Why I still wake up gasping even when the room is dry and safe. One night, months later, I drove back to the lake. I hadn't planned to. My hands just turned the wheel. The guardrail had been repaired. Fresh metal. Clean. No sign of impact. The water was calm again. Unbothered. I stood at the edge for a long time. The surface reflected the moon. I closed my eyes. "I didn't leave you," I whispered. The words felt thin. Weak. The wind moved lightly across the water. For a second, I thought I saw something beneath the surface. A flicker. A shape. But it was only the moon shifting. "I didn't choose to," I said louder. And for the first time, I let myself admit something else. I would have chosen her. If I could have. If there had been time. If my lungs hadn't been burning. If panic hadn't been louder than thought. Survival isn't a moral decision. It's a reflex. That realization didn't erase the guilt. But it changed its shape. It wasn't betrayal. It was human. I stepped into the water. Just ankle deep. Cold. But not deadly. "I'm still here," I whispered. The lake didn't answer. It never does. But I realized something standing there. Survival isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of the harder part. Learning to live with the air you fought so desperately to breathe. Because sometimes surviving is not about strength. It's about carrying the weight of it afterward. And choosing, every single day, to keep breathing anyway.